Now, the purpose behind it, you got to admit to a banker. I mean, they found a treasure because it took tremendous demand away. They knew they had to find some sort of vehicle to take demand away as everyone was realizing what was going on. So the SLV and the GLD took away needed demand.
Well, and so people understand the SLV is basically controlled or invented by, put into place by J.P. Morgan.
Yes.
And HSBC for the GLD, is that correct?
That is correct. So it's like it's the fox guarding the hen.
Yeah, it's a punchline to a bad joke.
That's what I met James Turk, by the way. James came up with Reg, and we had with Don Jack, and we met, and I told these guys, look, there's just no way the GLD and the SLV are real. And Reg Howe was looking at me, and he says, Ted Butler thinks it's real, and these are the greatest thing. I said, well, I just can't believe it. And then James Turk says, I'm getting duplicate bar numbers, on some of my stuff. And so we then commented, and then they're trying to get back how you could get duplicate numbers. And it was true. There were definitely duplicate numbers, but there had to be something bigger than this, and it had to do with a central authority of really... like the GLD. It was just moving, it didn't belong to the authorities at all, and they just moved it from one cubby hole to the other, but they're getting it back in a swap. That's how we think that they did it. And all of a sudden, the poor guys who are buying this stuff is going to be ending up with pieces of paper. And I stood up always from the beginning. Guys who were reading me from 2003, I was the lone guy for I think about 6 months. And I said, guys, I just cannot see how this is real. Okay, so I always, when I wrote, I always used quotation marks for inventory. I just couldn't, for the life of me, say this thing was real.
Right.
And finally, I think it was about 2 years ago, Reg Howe finally said, Harvey, you're right, this deal. And he went out to try to figure out how the gold was false. I mean, Reg is your authority in gold. And he finally got it, and he was so happy that he figured out how they did it on the gold side, and pretty well. See, the silver is different because there's no above-ground silver as there's gold. Mm-hmm. But we believe it is something to do with the Chinese. You see, the Chinese are the suppliers of the silver. You can't suppress the price of gold unless you have a supply of silver to keep both down. China realized that, wait a minute, I don't mind. I'll give up some of my silver, but I'll pick up gold with my left hand, giving my silver up with my right. Mm-hmm. You see, and that's what they did. Mm-hmm. And because they had probably between 300 and 600 million ounces that they assumed in 1949.
Okay.
The gold went over to Taiwan. That was air freighted. So the Mao Zedong could not get the gold because that got into Taiwan. It was 69 tons, and it stayed there. But the silver they took over, okay, and they just stood there until the Americans called and said, hey, I got a good deal for you. I need to suppress the price of gold. Can you supply me the silver? And they said, why not? Good deal. So that's what they did. So the silver was supplied. China said thank you very much and started in 6 years accumulating gold. And finally they made the announcement after the 6th year they went up from 600 tons to 1054, and they're higher. Now I think they want their silver back. Mm-hmm. I think they want their silver back.
Well, and I think there's a lot of billionaires that have been created between now and then who would love to have silver.
Oh, sure.
It's just individual billionaires.
Yeah. But I think that's the story, and Reg and I believe that that's how the silver situation came about, that the Chinese were the suppliers, and now they want it back. And you can imagine the mess that the COMEX people are. Here you have Eric Sprott going after millions of ounces and he's a very wealthy boy. And he can take and he'll take silver because he has major interest in U.S. mines. Mm-hmm. In Idaho, he's United Silver, and he's a good shareholder. He's going to take the silver first, okay? And then all of a sudden, where is the COMEX going to get its silver? The United States produces about 40 million ounces. So if the mints are needing already 48 million just in Silver Eagles alone, you can imagine they got to import. But wait a minute, you got your jewelers, you got your users, your manufacturers, your Eastman Kodak and your Fuji and all these guys. Well, where are they going to get their silver? Mm-hmm. And then Eric says, I don't care, I'm getting mine first. I'm the miner, I'm getting mine first. And he is. And that's the catastrophe. That's what they're in. Is he's getting it first. The comics don't know how they're going to get theirs.
That is amazing.
And that's the issue that's before us right this minute.
Harvey, I have a friend, a female who I've known for a very, very long time, a mentor essentially of mine, and she was terrified to make her first purchase of silver. She finally did it at about $30 an ounce after much prodding over the course of the past 18 months. But I helped her, and she secured a monster box. And she was just terrified because she kept asking me, how do you know it's real? How do you know it's real? Which I think is very telling, because people inherently recognize that precious metals are precious. So I thought that I got a kick out of that. She could recognize that silver was valuable because she was concerned about not getting the real stuff. I guess my question for you as it relates to people who are new to this, do you have a favorite way to invest? I mean, are silver eagles just as good as silver rounds? Are Canadian maples just as good as silver bars?
Just as good, sure. Try to get it. What I do is go to the flea markets, and it's
save on the shipping. Yeah.
Save on the shipping, and there's always Canada has silver dollars, and you'll always see them, and you can accumulate slowly.
Yeah.
But it'll help you. Or those that want to go straight to the mint, they will certainly. The demand is certainly there. I mean, 4.2 million last month was just an unbelievable amount.
Right.
It tells you that these are the people who realize, hey, wait a minute, you're not the only one realizing there's some problems.
Yeah.
They're putting their mouth with their they're buying. They recognize there's danger here.
And just so new folks understand, I mean, if they're at a flea market and they see a coin, and it may not be a government issued silver eagle or a Canadian maple or an Austrian Philharmonic, if it's a bar, if it says Engelhard, if it says Johnson Mathey, if it says any of these, even if it doesn't, if it's a silver round and it's got a buffalo on it, what they need to look for is 999 pure silver, correct? That's
correct. And the silver has a ring to it. You can just put it on the ground. It has a ting to it.
Yeah.
And if you're not sure, have someone that's good go down with you to your flea markets, and they'll sell. It's very easy to tell good silver.
Yeah, and there's I don't think there's really any counterfeiting worry at this point with silver still at 30. Now, when we're talking silver at 300-400, well, maybe.
Well, you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Chinese are very good at it. They'll certainly do. But if it's shiny and everything like that, I'll say it's not. It's when it's dull you can have counterfeiting. It's not. There's no silver in it. So there's a method you can test on it.
Right.
Gold, they're certainly figured this out.
Yeah.
You're seeing a lot of tungsten, because it has the same specific gravity, 19.3, as gold. So you're seeing hollowed out bars, and then they put in tungsten.
Oh my!
And then over in Hong Kong, they got this jewelry, which is some tungsten, and it was actually turned out to be half gold.
I heard this alchemy. There's some
They fooled all the people in Hong Kong. Amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Well,
retail end, that's the jewelry market.
Well, you've been absolutely so generous with your time. So again, on behalf of all of us, thank you.
It's a pleasure. Call me anytime.
Okay, and I will do that. And just so people can get in tune with what you're doing on a daily basis, it's just such important research and commentary. Can you tell us again how to find you on the Internet? It's all one word. So it's www.harveyorgan.blogspot.com. We will check it out. Harvey, thank you again. Thanks ever so much. We will talk to you again soon, sir. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, guys. And again, happy holidays.